All right, we are officially recording, and I want to thank you all for being here. This is officially my first training back after about 7 years in hiatus, and I want to thank you all for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit about a company called Transact Card, but the baseline for the training that I like to do is not so much about the business, it's about the individual. So you'll find that the training is going to cover a little bit of personal development and leadership development, but it's going to focus on how to actually develop your team, network development. I've been in this space since 1991. So I've been doing the home-based business arena since the early 90s. And I'm proud to say that over the course of that time, I've only been with a handful of companies. I was involved at the very baseline beginning of the deregulation of long distance. I was with a company for 4.5 years and had a lot of success just being in the right place at the right time. Moved on after that into the field of nutrition because I had a background as a triathlete and a college swimmer. So I kind of fell in love with that for about 6 years. And then I moved on to the deregulation of electricity and natural gas. And I did that for 5 years. So those were the three main companies that I had been involved with and kind of cut my teeth and developed the training. But along the way, during the course of that, there was two different stints, one for 3 years and one for 1 year, where I had gotten involved in the industry of cashback rewards. The first one was back in 2007, 8, and 9. If you can remember how early stage the internet was back then, as far as online shopping and really what it was all about, we had a very successful run, and the company was so successful that the partners ended up selling out in 2010. And the success story ended in a little frustration because we really had a great concept. And about 15 years or 5 years later in 2015, I found myself back in front of a cashback rewards program again with the same excitement, enthusiasm, and we had a lot of success with that. And all I can say to you is today, here in 2023, more than ever before, we are in a world of, I'm just going to call it need. Regardless of where we live in the country, regardless of what country we live in, we found ourselves in a situation where more than ever, people are looking for alternative sources of income or additional sources of income. And I think we have hit the jackpot with this company. So as I stated, we're going to talk a little bit about Transact Card, but this is not so much a presentation for the company as it is a blueprint for success for those of us that are looking to become digital branch officers and move through the ranks of the company. So I'll preface it by saying there's no such thing as good or bad training. Training is training, and we all relate or resonate with different types of messages. Some people are very visual, some are hands-on, some are auditory, and others, quite frankly, it's the school of hard knocks. I will start off by saying that I spent my first 2.5, almost 3 full years in home-based business, struggling and failing, quite frankly, because honestly, I wasn't paying attention. I was bringing my own knowledge, experience to the table, and unfortunately, I was not skilled enough or prepared enough to have the success I was looking for. Let me see if I can go ahead and mute that person. Okay. Now, what I will share with you is very simply the foundation of success always comes down to your level of belief. And I always start off with this because I think it's either misunderstood or disrespected. When I say misunderstood, I don't want anyone to go out there with an overwhelming, hypey sales mentality. That usually will turn people off. If you've ever been approached by, Slick Willie the salesman, it feels awkward. Nobody wants to be sold. However, you have to have some level of excitement and enthusiasm, and that's going to come from your level of belief. So for me, the litmus test is real simple. before I can go out there and market for a company, before I can represent anyone else, I have to feel good enough about what I'm going to be marketing. So I always think, okay, would I give this to my mom if I wasn't going to get paid? Is this product or service good enough that I would want to give it to my mom, even if I wasn't going to get paid? That's how I will gauge whether or not something is worth, looking into and investing my time. And I think we would all agree that every single person we know, and I'm going out on a limb because I don't know all of you personally, but I'm confident enough to say that every single person that you know spends money. I'll pause for a second. If anybody wants to debate that, feel free to speak your piece, but I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet to say everyone that we know spends money, whether it's shopping, whether it's paying bills, whether it's luxury vacations. I don't care if they prefer to go out to eat at dinner or they say, I hate going to restaurants, but they still go to the grocery store and buy their groceries and cook at home. We're all spending money. The second thing that I'm going to go ahead and absolutely assume is not only do they spend money, every single person would love their money to stretch further. They would love to increase the leveraged buying power of the dollars that they have. Some people say make their dollars stretch, make their ends meet. But the bottom line is those two factors are what we're dealing with. Everyone we know spends money, and everyone that we know would love that money to stretch a little further. So in addition to this passing the test of what I give it to my mom if I wasn't going to get paid, it falls right into the category checking all the boxes of what I personally believe to be absolutely essential if you want long-term success in a business. And that means the business must have a product or a service that everyone wants and needs, and this is the second part, is consumable and reusable or renewable or repurchasable. So not only does everybody that we know spend money, next month they're going to need money again. So the beautiful thing about this opportunity is we don't have to convince anyone out there that they want or need or should use our products. So what's going to determine the level of success or failure? Very simply, the messenger. And this is the harsh truth. And I say this with sincere respect for everybody. I was a lousy messenger when I started in this industry. Back in 1991, 1992, 1993, I was a punk kid. I had gone to high school and did exactly what I was told. Get good grades so you can go to a great college. I went to St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia. I studied marketing, mathematics, and psychology. And after 4 years, 7 of the 8 on the dean's list, if anybody can remember 1990, it was the worst time in history to be coming out of school and looking for a job because the baby boomers had completely jammed up the entire pipeline. So after 4 years of college, I was told, you got a couple of options. Medical school, law school, or go pursue a PhD. Well, if you guys remember, there was a great TV show called LA Law, and I figured, you know what, if I got to go to school, I'll go become Arnie Becker. He was wealthy and he's always had beautiful girlfriends. So I moved out to San Diego, California, and I attended law school. So here was 4 years of high school, 4 years of college. Now I'm in law school, and I was extremely, extremely disenfranchised and disillusioned with our legal system. We're starting to see it play out now without getting political. We're starting to see it play out now. I was exposed to this in 1990, 1991, when I went through that first year of law school and spent a lot of time talking to my law professor. And his conclusion after that year was that I should take some time off and decide if I really want to become an attorney. And the reason he said that was he told me, he goes, if you're not willing to get down and dirty, you're going to lose every case. And you don't strike me as the kind of guy that's going to be okay losing every case. So he said, I see a serial killer in my future if you stay in law school. So he basically said, take some time off and figure it out. So I left law school. Now here I was, 23, 24 years old with zero business sense, zero experience in anything other than being a student. And I was thrust into the industry of home-based business. And I struggled. I struggled horribly because I brought my own ego into it, which really was worth nothing. And I was out there trying to do what other companies were spending tens of millions of dollars hiring marketing executives, doing focus groups, and figuring out what my friends and family would say yes to. So here's the knucklehead 8-year lifeguard, personal trainer trying to go out there and compete with multi-billion-dollar corporations. Well, I will tell you that what changed for me was the training. And I will simply say this, I was in front of an individual 3 weekends a month for 2 straight years, 3 weekends a month for 2 straight years. And this is a person that made over $1 million a month in the home-based business arena. His big claim to fame was he trained Tony Robbins before anybody knew who Tony Robbins was. So I simply say this, it's not my information, it's the information that I got 30 plus years ago. And it's the way I was able to massage and edit this information as times changed and as I went out there and got involved in various industries. But I say all of that to sum it up by saying this. Training is on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 10 meaning your level of seriousness, your level of desire becoming really successful in business. The reason why I say that is very simple. You take from the training what you want. You leave what you don't. The reason why I say that is I'm not here to force my training on anybody. I'm here to lay it out and say, if it resonates with you, pick it up and run with it. If it doesn't resonate with you, please find someone else's training, because you have to get trained. You have to be prepared in order to be successful. Well, that being said, I'm going to give you that scale right now, and I'll go ahead and share my screen because I've put together a comprehensive manual that will help you to understand what it is that I'm talking about.
You said Leslie's done this before?
No, she's the one that turned me on to it.
I thought you said you'd done it before.
Please mute your phone. Please mute your phone.
I'm going to keep trying to mute you guys. However,
Please.
if you
Goodness.
unmute yourself, you're going to bleed into the call. And I'm going to try to do this with as little distraction as possible. So this is the diagnostic checklist, and it breaks down the steps that you're going to go through with your business. Now, you'll see on the left, it says names. You should always be adding names down. To get started, I always tell people, put the 10 to 20 people closest to you on this list. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through the following steps. We're going to approach them. We're going to expose them to the opportunity. We're going to follow up and get closure with them. Based upon their answers, we're going to enroll them either as a customer, which is a Transact Card member, or as a business partner, which would be a digital branch office. We're going to follow up with them. We're going to get a referral list, and we're going to qualify them. Because one of the biggest frustrations for me over the years was I would watch people invest all of their time and effort to enroll people in. And then once they got the person into their business, they were moving on to the next recruit and leaving that brand new business partner to struggle and figure it out on their own. So you'll see I've put together some documents that will help you to understand your role is beginning, not ending, it's beginning when that brand new person joins you. Now, I'm going to kind of read through this so that you can see and hear what I'm saying, and then I'll make these documents available for those of you that say, yeah, this resonates and I want to go forward with it. But for a brand new person getting started, the first thing you're going to do is congratulate them. Congratulations on your decision to join us. We know how exciting your first days are, and we also know that for some of you, it creates the question of what should I do next? You're in business for yourself and are in complete control of what you decide to do, which is the wonderful thing about being in your own business. So our goal here is to provide you with an outline and a framework to maximize your time and give you the best results possible. The information that you're going to be taught is based upon years of success running the same type of business that you're about to begin. Some suggestions might not make sense to you immediately, but remember, you're learning something completely new, and in some cases, totally different than anything else that you've ever tried. This is a proven plan that has been utilized by representatives for the past 3 decades, and it will guide you towards success in your business. Each step is explained in detail below, and there are some documents to assist you in preparing to be as effective as possible. This training system has been documented to successfully develop your business. And the most valuable thing about this blueprint is that it will allow you to track and to monitor your progress with each new prospect. If you begin to notice that things aren't working out the way you hoped, you can go back and look at this checklist, and you'll figure out, based on any one of your partners, you'll figure out what the system is doing and where it's breaking down. And it's a 100% effective way to diagnose your business and get back on track for success. I'm going to go back up here to the top for just a quick second so you can see this. What we're doing is we're outlining in a very logical approach. You've got somebody you want to talk to. The first thing you need to do is effectively approach them. I'm going to teach you a process that will give you the maximum success in approaching everyone. Because I will tell you right now that the biggest frustration people have is they get started in business, they'll make 1 or 2 phone calls, they'll talk to their closest friends or somebody in their family, and they'll get kicked right in the head. Somebody will say, oh, that's one of those stupid MLM things. And they shut down immediately, afraid to go out there and talk to anybody else. And then when you try to help them, they'll say, I don't have anybody to talk to, or I've already talked to everybody. Well, I will let you know from a personal standpoint that regardless of what was said, if the person was not approached effectively, it doesn't count. So you can always go back and approach the individual effectively to get them to take a look at your business and give you their opinion. The approach is followed immediately by the exposure, and the exposure can be anything that you want. My personal recommendation is that the initial exposure be the short 3-minute recorded video. And the reason why I suggest that is it eliminates 99% of the obstacles. When you're trying to get somebody to take a look at your business and you're trying to get them to come to a webinar or to come to a live presentation in your town, you're going to deal with all kinds of some legitimate and some BS excuses where people are going to say they don't have that time available, they got caught in traffic, their husband or their wife said they got to take care of the kids. There's a million excuses that will cause them to not show up, or worse, tell you that they're not even willing. Now, if you have a short 3-minute video that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week because it's recorded, you don't have to deal with any of that, because now all you're asking is 5 minutes of their time. You're asking for 5 minutes of their time for a favor. And I promise you, if somebody is on your list, having a relationship as either a friend or a family member, you can feel comfortable demanding 5 minutes, as long as it's not going to force them to leave their house. In fact, they can sit on their couch and do this favor to you. So you're going to maximize the approach and the exposure to almost a 1-to-1 ratio, so that everyone you're approaching, you will have an exposure. Well, that brings us to the third category, the follow-up and the closure. After the presentation, after that short video is over, you're simply going to ask them. I might as well go down to the manual so you can see I'm not just making this stuff up. There's the approach. There's the exposure, which I've just covered. And you're going to get to the closure. Now, the closure is an extremely important part of this checklist. You should always assume that your prospect spends money shopping and paying bills and sees a better financial future by increasing their purchasing power. So at the conclusion of this exposure, you're going to refer back to the basic options of either becoming a partner of yours in the business or becoming a Transact Card member, a customer. And you're going to just basically let them make the decision for themselves. In the event your prospect isn't ready to become either a business partner or a customer, be sure to thank them for evaluating your business. I want this to be a very sincere response. You thank them when you're asking for the favor and you're telling them, I'm not here to pressure you. You can't go back on that. So if someone says, thanks, but no thanks, it's not really for me, we both know that's a lie. But we don't want to call them on that. We want to instead thank them for their time and let them know, hey, I'm going to be reaching out to you in a little while, hoping that you might be able to assist me with some referrals. But I'll wait a couple of weeks. I'll build up my own personal story and then I'll share with you how it's going. Because remember, you're brand new. You don't have a story. They might simply sit back and look at you and say to themselves, I'm going to wait and see how it works out for you before I make a decision. They may never say that verbally, but if that's how they feel, you're playing into it by being cordial, thanking them, respecting them, and saying, hey, I'm just going to get back with you. Now, assuming the person sees the value of either a Transact Card member or a DBO, you simply ask them, do you want to become a customer accumulating those valuable Z-Bucks, or do you also see the business opportunity and want to become a digital branch office as well? You don't need to force them. Either way, your goal is to get as many satisfied customers, which quite frankly is either or. And the bottom line is, regardless of whether they're a Transact Card member or a DBO, they are going to be advertising and marketing your business. So if someone is looking to start as a Transact Card member, thank them and let them know that you're going to assist them with any questions associated with the Transact Card and all of its benefits. If they want to become a digital branch office, then you're going to help them to get involved with our training program. That's the difference right there. You're not going to just sign them up and say good luck. You're not going to sign them up and say, hey, get on all the webinars. You're going to lock arms with them, and you're going to understand that more when we go through some of these documents. But you want to make sure they understand that you're going to help them to get involved with our training program in addition to assisting them with the Transact Card. Now, follow-up. Plan to follow up with your prospect immediately. Everything I just told you was philosophy. Now we're going to talk about the actual conversation. Follow up with the prospect immediately after they have chosen to enroll as a retail customer or as an associate, because the sooner you're able to assist them, the better off they will be, and it will validate the urgency and the timing for taking advantage of this opportunity. We all hear, oh, the timing. You have to live what you say, and having a sense of urgency in the way you're treating them, not pressure, but a sense of urgency, will validate that, yeah, we have to jump on this. Some of you know we are 12 days away. 10 days. Today's the 2nd. We're 10 days away from the official launch of the company in Las Vegas. So that's a 10-day window to get some things accomplished. That's a real sense of urgency. So you want to act accordingly. It's important for your new prospect to experience success while the information is still fresh in their head. The follow-up always allows you to determine the proper course of action for them to take. Please be sure to thank your prospect for taking the action in supporting you. So here's an example of what you want to say. Now, again, I've scripted it out so that I can read it to you. You put it into your own words. You put it into a framework that resonates with you, but this is the idea. Thank you so much for taking the time to review the videos and providing me with your feedback. I really appreciate you doing me the favor and supporting me. Now you can see why I was so excited and wanted you to evaluate this for yourself. I don't want to assume anything, so please let me know if you see the value in becoming a Transact Card member, or you'll really like the ability to profit as a digital branch office as well. Now, again, this is important. Let them think as long as they need. Don't say anything until they've responded to you. If you have to sit there for 5 minutes, feel how awkward that is? It's awkward. Silence is awkward. So embrace that. Take a sip of something, smile at them. Don't get up and walk away. Just be patient. They will realize, okay, I'm going to have to talk here. And they will either let you know that they want to become your customer or your business partner. Okay? Bottom line is they might have some questions. I have found over the course of the 30 years plus I've done this, that when you take 100% of the people that you expose an opportunity to, 5 to 10% will say no. Nothing you can do to change their mind. 5 to 10% will say yes automatically. And then there's a giant 80 to 90% in between that has questions. Your success is directly dependent upon your ability to take that 80 to 90% in the middle and move them to a yes. If you've ever heard the term people sitting on the fence, the training that I've developed is designed to give you a big stick to whack all these people off the fence into the yard that says, yes, I want to do this with you. Whether it's as a customer or as a business partner, they fall into the yes versus the no. And that's the bottom line. There's no magic in getting somebody who's negative to say yes, and there's no skill in getting the right person who says yes after the first exposure. The skill set is in getting that 80 to 90% saying, not sure, let me think about it, I have some questions. So the bottom line is, if someone says they have questions, it is our job to have those questions addressed by one of our business partners. So immediately grab your notebook and ask them to share each question with you and write it down. And each time somebody says their question, say, well, that's a fantastic question. I didn't even think about that. What else do you have? And I don't care if they give you 16 questions or objections, write them all down. And at the conclusion, when they say they don't have anything else, you say to them, if I can get all of these questions answered to your satisfaction, do you see the value in becoming my business partner? And then pause and let them answer. That is one of the most valuable closing questions that you can do, because you've honored their request to get questions answered. You've shown them through your actions that you took it seriously. You even acknowledged each question as they gave it to you, each objection as they gave it to you. And you said, I'm not qualified to answer these, but I'm going to take it to my expert. And then you follow up by saying, once I've gotten all of these questions answered to your satisfaction, do you see the value in becoming my business partner? And I will tell you 99 out of 100 are going to say absolutely, because they're either looking for a reason to say yes, or they don't believe you're going to get all their questions answered. But the bottom line is, you've now locked them down. So you get the questions addressed by your expert. You let them know that you're taking it to an expert, and you create value and respect for your expert. Then you allow them to speak directly with that person. Now, when it comes to creating value and respect for an expert, I'll try to say this delicately. Don't over-exaggerate. Don't make up stories. I can't tell you how quickly it will turn off your potential business partner if you over-exaggerate the expert. You don't have to introduce them to a vice president or a senior vice president or a president. You don't have to introduce them to an executive of the company. What you can do is say, I'm going to get these questions addressed by the person helping me, Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith has been with the company for about 4 or 5 months now, and she's absolutely qualified to answer these questions. In fact, Mrs. Smith can share with you the background of where the company came from, and she can not only share with you what the company is doing right now, but she can give you the vision of where the company will be over the next 6 to 12 months, the kind of growth they're going to go through, and she's qualified to show you how you could fit into that growth, the kind of money that's available to you. Now, let's just be honest. How many of you want to meet Mrs. Smith? I didn't have to tell you she drives a Ferrari or she has a yacht or she has 4 mansions. Just a person who's willing to help me, who's willing to help get your questions answered, and who's qualified to talk a little bit about the opportunity. However, it is essential that you create the value and respect for that expert when talking to your prospect. When your prospect and the expert meet for the first time, whether it's on a phone call, on a video conference, or in person, it is your job to make sure that that prospect feels privileged to be speaking with the expert, not the other way around. And I say that again very humbly because I don't expect any of you to go out there and build me up to be anything more than I am. I'm qualified as an expert. I have a lot of experience in the industry, but you don't have to go out there and over exaggerate your expert's qualifications when talking to your prospect. And I'll be clear about this. One of the things that I learned very early on, once I started to apply the training, was the mistake that a lot of people made was they translated success in the real world with success in home-based business. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you when I say this. I have worked with successful doctors, surgeons, attorneys, accountants, entrepreneurs that own businesses, and corporate executives. And they all have the same thing in common. They have zero experience in a home-based business. And so they will either have artificial success that's not something that duplicates, or they will struggle. And the reason why is this is a profession. It's not, people don't give it the respect and credit that it should, but being successful in a home-based business is a profession. And there are some skills that need to be learned. And what I found was that the doctors, the attorneys, those successful people out there that were willing to take the time and learn the basic skills to succeed in the home-based business had massive success. Those that didn't came in and they had one level of success. And what I mean by that, to prove I'm not making this up, you give me a successful anyone, somebody who has a successful business, so they're an entrepreneur or doctor, attorney, accountant, whatever. And I guarantee you, they can make a list of 50 people and all 50 will join as their DBO. They will make a lot of money. They will have that initial level of success. But the 50 people that they brought on got in because it was them recruiting them. There was that star factor. So they got excited to be a part of that. And they then instead couldn't duplicate it because now that person wasn't trained, wasn't prepared, wasn't effective. They went out there with just pure excitement, bragging on the doctor, attorney, whomever that got them in, and it doesn't translate. So those 50 people, maybe they all were able to get 1 or 2 in. So again, that initial person has 100 people coming in on their second level. They're still making a lot of money. They're still talking about how much money they've earned in the opportunity. But each of those people that they brought in only got 2. They're not so excited. They're also not real prepared. And then those people that came in, they're now 2 people removed from that successful expert. Good luck. Now it's just the luck of the draw. And all I want you to understand is that we have a system that allows any person, regardless of their background, regardless of their education, regardless of their experience, to plug in and have success because they're using a system, and that system will allow them to take advantage of other people's success, experience, education, you name it, and bring that to their prospect. So now we've got the referral list and qualify. This is the pivotal point in the checklist, because what you do with your new person is what they're going to duplicate to their own prospects, which is why I said to you, it never works out when that successful entrepreneur or doctor comes in and just uses their own impressive background and the respect that they've already earned from everybody that they know. The best and most effective way to do this is to share success stories about other people. Remember, you're brand new, so you should be able to share some examples of average people who use the Transact card. Share examples of how these people are now benefiting by using the card and some of the experiences that they're enjoying. I do it all the time. I talk to people about the cruise that still hasn't even happened. The cruise is in December, but I talk about anybody that I know likes to travel. I tell them, I go, what would be worth for you to get a cruise for free? 4-night cruise out of Florida for free. And they all go, that's not possible. I go, well, if it was, do I have your attention? Boom, it's done. It shuts down any objections because I know that they like to travel. I know that if I could show them how they could have gotten a cruise for two for free, at least gets their attention. So when you're talking to people, use other stories until you have your own. So if your prospect is choosing to become a DBO, ask if they are serious about making money and becoming successful with the business. This is going to give you the express permission to guide and direct them without resistance. Now, here's an example of a response to a new business partner after they say they want to join the business. And say, great, I'm excited to work with you, but I don't want to assume anything. And I don't want you to feel pressured to do anything that will make you feel uncomfortable. Is your goal to make a lot of money and have a lot of success with the business, or were you just planning to refer a few people here and there? Let them answer. Pause and let them answer. And no matter what their answer is, great. I want you to feel as comfortable in your new business and get you into profit as soon as possible. But we're going to build it at their own pace. Now, we must sit down with our new partner and establish the reason why they are doing the business. It's our responsibility to make sure that they can clearly communicate their reason why they've started the business and why the business must be successful to their own friends and family. It's our responsibility to teach our new partner how to effectively approach their friends and family and get them to evaluate this new business. It is not enough to simply tell them how to do it. It's our job to role play with them if that's what it takes and help them to feel as comfortable and confident as possible so that they can be competent when they go out there and talk to others. We get paid to make sure our business partners are able to successfully expose new prospects and to participate in the community revenue sharing pool within their first few weeks of starting a new business. If you fail to do this essential step, I promise you, if you fail to do this effectively, I guarantee you're going to be complaining that your business isn't growing and you're not making any money. That initial conversation, again, I'm going to read this one more time. That's how important this is. I'm excited to work with you, but I don't want to assume anything, and I don't want you to feel pressured to do anything that would make you feel uncomfortable. Is your goal to make a lot of money and have a lot of success with the business, or are you just planning to refer a few people here and there? I promise you, failure to have that conversation with your new person cut your chances of having a successful team by 90%. That's how significant that little conversation is once somebody says they want to join. Lastly, training is a process that never ends. Anytime a new job is started, an employee is trained on the correct way to conduct themselves within that company. I don't care if you were an accountant for 8 years in company A, if you're being hired on in company B, you're going to go through their training program. You may not have to learn everything, but they want you to do things their way. They don't care about company A because you now work at company B. This business is no different, and it should be treated with the same level of respect as we would give a new job. We have created a training library that contains videos and documents that'll reinforce the most important information for you to get started successfully. Learning this information will greatly improve your results in every aspect of your business, and most of the trainings are recorded by individuals who have already achieved the success in the very same business that you're about to begin. There isn't anyone better to prepare you for your new business. So review the training information frequently and include your partners as often as possible. It not only improves your personal success, but as you familiarize yourself with it, you'll be more likely to promote this information in the training to your own sales force. Training is a process, not an event. And we recommend making some very basic time each day to approach at least 2 people, because this is your litmus test. This is your guide. I call it the daily method of operation. First question, who did I talk with today? Second question, what was the result of the conversation? For the people that work with me personally, I would work with them provided that they would send me those 2 answers every night before they went to bed. I said, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not your boss, but I am here to make sure you're accountable to your own business, which means if I can teach you how to do an approach and have somebody exposed, all totaled in less than 10 minutes, you should be able to do 2 a day. Now, I want to put that out there. If I said to you, I will help you to become as successful as you want in your own business, and all I'm asking you to do is prepare yourself to be effective, and I'll help you to do that, and invest a grand total of 20 minutes or less each day to do your business. Effectively approach and expose one person, and then let me know the results. Effectively approach and expose the second person, and let me know the results. The reason why I only ask for 2 is people will either not do that and drop off to do nothing, or realize how easy it is, how effective this is, and they'll end up talking to 3, 4, 5 people. And that is the result I have gotten over 30 plus years. So it's all about preparing people, giving them simple steps to follow, and then being there to hold their hand every step of the process. Now, before I go on to any other documents, I'm going to pause there. If you do not have any questions, please do not unmute yourself. But if you have any questions based on what we just covered, please ask them right now. That's one of the things that I pride myself on with my trainings, is that it's not me lecturing you, it's me working with you as if we were sitting across the table. I will tell you what I want you to hear. Now I will open up and any questions, comments, thoughts, and then we'll go to the next step. There's no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid one is the one you don't ask us. Because I promise you, if you're thinking it, somebody else is too.
Well, can I say something, John? This is Jerry.
Yes,
Hi,
sir.
everybody. That was
Hey,
very
Mr.
thorough. That was very thorough. And what I like about what we just got informed with, it brings back old trainings we did for years. And for some of us, it became second nature after so many years. It's just come naturally. It sounds like a lot, everyone, but it's really not. It's not. It's just a process. Once you learn the process, actually, oh, wow, you're talking about 10 minutes, John, or less. Would that be fair to say?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna pull the documents up. I have everything prepared for you. Like I said, this was the inaugural training, so I want to put it out there. And I might as well say this. Mr. Jerry and his wife, Miss Tracy, have been with me since 2011, 2012, have been massively successful in multiple companies over the past few decades. I'm very humbled and appreciative to have them here. And as Mr. Jerry said, we used to drill down on this all the time. I also have a young man by the name of Keith Steed, who goes all the way back to 1999, 2000 with me. He will tell you that at the age of 19 or 20 years old, he would drive an hour and a half each way to come sit. This is all before the internet, guys. Would drive an hour and a half up and then spend 3 or 4 hours in the training facility with me, and then an hour and a half back. And he did that every weekend for I don't know how many years, Keith. I'm guessing you probably made that trip 200 times, if not more. And it's the same framework of the training that he used to go on and have tremendous success in the industry. And lastly, Miss Sheila, who is all the way from Medford, Oregon, is one of the leaders that I worked with in the very last network marketing company I was involved with in 2015. And she and her team developed an entire city. She'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say they had 500 or 600 merchants on board with a cashback program. So when I say there are some experts on this call listening, I'm very humbled and grateful to have you here. But that's the kind of caliber and quality of individuals that are in this company and that are going to make themselves available to help all of us to be successful as we go out there and build our business. So I'm going to zip it real fast. Are there any questions at all? If not, I'll move right along to show you some of these documents that we have prepared for you so that, again, there really is no guesswork. This is a cookie cutter program that I have updated since my last program in 2015. All right, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. I will take this silence to mean you're in awe of the phenomenal training that you just heard.
Actually, I am.
No, I'm just kidding. That's just me goofing. Okay. Responsible sponsor conversation. I kind of labeled these about as simply as I could so there was no confusion. Responsible sponsor conversation. We just kind of touched on it, but I want you to see there's a whole document here. And the reason why we do this is for these three reasons: to avoid having to chase after these people or them feeling pressured by you, to determine if you're going to need to cut them loose at some point and replace them. And it also allows you, or allows them, to know that you're serious about your business as well as your commitment to them. Now, just taking those three things as an example, I really do want participation on this. How many of you have ever gotten somebody in or called somebody and then you felt like a stalker chasing after them? They went into the witness protection program, never to be seen or heard again.
I have.
Oh, I definitely have.
I have.
yeah. Yep.
It's the kiss of death in this business. This is somebody that you went drinking with every Thursday night after bowling. You played softball with every season. You watch the football game with every weekend. You bring up the business, boom, they're in WITSEC. The U.S. Marshals have them. They're living in Iowa under a false name. I mean, I'm telling you, I used to leave people messages. Hey, you better call me back. If I find you on the street before you call me, you're going to wish you were in WITSEC. That's the kind of stuff I used to have to say to people because I was so pissed that they wouldn't call me back. That's why I say to you, trust me, I was the worst possible home-based business rep when I wasn't trained, because I was a 23, 24-year-old little street punk that thought I had known something, and I didn't. But the point is, if you can take a street punk with no skills and no experience and teach them how to be effective by just having a formula and a system, we can do it with anybody. So that's the reason why we have a responsible sponsor conversation. And again, the whole thing is outlined for you here. It's all outlined for you. The question, what to say to them, and why. Now, I've mentioned this a couple times. The reason why. I think this might be the biggest part that is ignored and overlooked by everyone. And I will simply say this. Every one of us, if you got started in any home-based business, there was a reason why. Our challenge is that historically, throughout society, people hide behind an ego. And I'll say it this way. I would watch people that I knew personally that were struggling financially. Their home was in foreclosure. They were moving their car because they were worried about their car getting repoed. Yet they refused to let anyone know that they needed their help and that they were starting the home-based business because they really needed to make the money. They would rather live off of the used-to-bes. They used to be successful. They used to be an executive. They used to have a successful business. Entrepreneurs are the worst. Anybody that knows an entrepreneur knows that is an uphill battle on a daily basis. I don't care what the business is, unless you got lucky, you're humping it day after day, week after week to keep that profitable, because businesses usually have very high expenses to them. Well, I know so many people that were just treading water. They were hardworking, the business was successful, but the expenses were overwhelming. And so they were treading water. So they started the home-based business because they really needed to make money, but they didn't want to let anybody know the reason why they started the business and the reason why the business must be successful. For those of you that don't know, my personal story is the easiest one to tell because God humbled the heck out of me. I was never going to do home-based business again.
Well, that's the reason why.
Hang on one second. I can't see you. Who had the question? Somebody just swerving me. I heard somebody ask something, but I didn't have the screen up.
That was Gary. He's just trying to figure out his phone, John. Don't worry about it.
Oh, big
Sorry.
hello. So for me, I was never going to do this again. I had made the decision that I was never going to do another network marketing company. And my right hand to God, I turned down over 100 just the past 3 years. Just since COVID in 2019, I turned down at least 100, including one of my former business partners and best friends since 1990. I just said, look, I don't think I could do this again. I said, my love for people is gone. I don't know that I could ever be the servant leader that you remembered me as. I just don't know that I could do it. And then about 6 weeks later, I was up on a roof and had an accident where the ladder went out and I fell 16 feet down onto a concrete driveway, knocked unconscious, the whole 9 yards. All I can say is God was not done with me, because that's why I didn't die or end up paralyzed. And while I was recovering in bed with ice bags on my face for about 3 weeks, I can remember saying, what the hell am I going to do? I can't work. I was doing labor, doing roof repair, fascia and soffit, because I'm down here in Southwest Florida, and we got devastated by a hurricane last year. Anybody remembers Hurricane Ian? I was living ground zero. We got destroyed. And so everybody that I know was in repair mode. Well, I was 55 years old. I'm physically fit, healthy. I'm like, I can help. So I started doing a lot of blue collar work, which ended up getting me up on a roof. And all I can say to you was, I was laying there scared to death at how I was going to provide for my son. I have a 16-year-old son. And I remember saying, God, I don't know what your plan is. And I'm sure as hell not real thrilled with this path, but can you please point me in the right direction when I can sit up again? Because at this time, this was all still swollen shut, black and blue and purple. And about a week and a half later, my right hand to God, a week and a half later, I got a phone call from somebody I hadn't talked to since 2010. So this is a guy that was in my business 2004 to 2010. We didn't talk 2010 for the 13 years, almost 14 years. And he calls me. He's like, hey, buddy, I got something for you. And let me tell you, I wasn't even nice. I cursed him out because I said, I called you 100 times the last 10 years. Why the hell didn't you ever answer? And he gave me some BS excuse that I wasn't paying attention to. He goes, I really need you to check this out. And I said, listen, there's nobody further removed from joining your new business than me. Not only am I never going to do network marketing again, but I fell off a roof. I can't even sit up and look at a computer. I said, so I can't do it. He said to me, Johnny, it's just like aisle 19. And I'm putting a spot in for you because when you see it, you're going to want to do it. I don't want to lose you to somebody else. Now, how many of you think that's a little nuts? I couldn't have given him a more direct, hardcore no. No, I'm not doing it. And I'm mad at you for not calling me back for 10 years, you jerk. That was our conversation. He said, I know you're going to want to do this. I know you're going to want to do this. I'm putting a spot in because I don't want to lose you to somebody else. Can we agree that that dude had some serious belief in his business opportunity?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely you did.
It didn't get me to say yes, but it made me go, damn, he's pretty serious about this. If he heard the words, no, and I'm going to beat you with a stick when I can stand up, and no, I'm not possible at doing anything because I'm in recovery for Lord knows how many months. And he still enrolled me. And then he would call me every couple of days, just checking in with you, just checking to see how you're doing. Never once did we talk about the business for probably 2 or 3 weeks. Finally, when the pain and the stuff was all done, I sat up out of respect for him. I took a look at the business and I called, you see them as the power couple. I called Jerry and Tracy and I said, listen, I don't know if you're going to want to do this. I don't know if I want to do this, but it's very much in line with a company that we messed around with in 2015, only it's better. I need you guys to evaluate it and tell me what you think. Miss Sheila, had you not already been in, I would have been calling you too. But the reason I say that is I still wasn't sure. I wanted to get feedback from people that already had some knowledge and experience in the industry and knew about the cashback programs. Well, Jerry and Tracy waited about 3 hours to text me back that they loved it. They wanted to keep doing more research. They took a couple more days and they said, you know, I'm going to do this. And I thought, okay. And then I reached out to Keith, who again, we haven't worked together in 10 plus years. We've stayed friendly over the time frame, but we haven't worked together. But I knew Keith knew aisle 19, and I knew Keith was a bright young man. So I said, look, I don't know if this is for you. I'm still not sure if I'm going to do it. But I now had Eddie in my head, and I had Jerry and Tracy in my head. I'm thinking, maybe that concrete did some damage. Maybe I need to really look harder at this thing. So I got Keith to take a look. Same thing. He took his time, he evaluated. He goes, I can't see a reason why somebody would say no. How many of you would agree that those are pretty good feedback answers to have people say, I love it, or I can't see a reason why they would say no?
Absolutely.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
it's solidified for me. I probably should learn how the business works and decide what the next steps are. I reached out to Miss Sheila. We spent a couple of hours chatting on the phone because I wanted to hear about her experience with the company. But the reason I say all this to you is I had to get comfortable. I had to become confident, and I had to have a strong level of faith and belief, which turns into passion and enthusiasm when I talk. See, you
Absolutely.
can't talk me down now because I've solidified that. But my reason for telling you my stories is each of you has to have your own story.
Why?
My why is I fell off a roof. I almost died, and I don't know how else I can make some money other than home-based business. Now, whether or not God really sent it to me, I'll never know, but I'm just going to go with, yeah, he did, because I really don't know how else I would be in home-based business again if not for that call from Eddie in the perfect timing after the fall off the roof. I don't see any other way for me to be here. Now, that all being said, it is essential, 100% essential, that we go out there and we help our brand new people to establish their own reason why. They must be able to express to you why they deserve your attention and support. That's going to sound cocky, but I don't mean it to sound cocky. I want each person that's working with me to feel like they hit the lottery. I want them to feel privileged that they have access to me, not because I'm special, but because I'm going to commit to helping them to be successful. So I want to know, why are you doing this business and why does it need to be successful? They must be able to express that reason why in order to enroll their friends and family into caring about their success. Folks, even if somebody says, I don't want to do your business, but I'll refer people to you, fantastic, that's great. That's a double thumbs up. That means you communicated enough of a reason why you must be successful that even though they don't want to do it, they're going to refer people. And they must have a very strong reason why that will supersede their overwhelming desire to be lazy. Again, I'm being blunt when I say this. People, including me, are inherently lazy. It is our job to create enough value and enough of a reason why that will overcome the inherent laziness. And that's not a knock on anybody. I will put my hand up and say, I am the hardest working, lazy person that you have ever met. I work harder than anyone you've ever met so that I can do nothing, because I would prefer to lay by the pool, lay at the beach, go to the gym, sleep in as late as I want. I am inherently lazy, but I have the work ethic to do what must be done before I get to be lazy. Now, for those of you saying, I resonate with this clown. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about, and I want to take this seriously. Some of you will remember this partnership agreement. The DBO partnership agreement is what the brand new person is going to sign, and give to you when they agree to get started. So the I blank is going to be your brand new DBO's name. They are committing to give their very best effort during the next 3 months. Now, I want to be clear about this. I will only ask 90 days commitment. After 90 days, I have either instilled a work ethic in you, I have instilled success in your business, or it's never going to happen. So all I ask is that you give me your best effort for the next 90 days. I need you to commit that you will ignore your own ideas for becoming successful and instead learn from those who have already succeeded in this industry. That you will learn to go through this process. You need to understand or to agree to suspend your need to be right during these first 90 days. Number 3, you're going to apply the training and you're going to speak to at least 50 people in your first 30 days. Folks, 2 a day is what I told you. 2 a day. That's all I'm asking. But you speak to 50 people in your first 30 days and you focus on a minimum of 10 Transact Card members, which are customers, and a minimum of 3 digital branch office partners who also agree to these 4 core principles. Your personal recruiting must be done within the first 30 days so that you can focus all of your energy on the 4th core principle during the 2nd and the 3rd month. And the 4th principle is that you will assist each of your 3 personally enrolled DBOs to enroll their own 3 DBO partners. Now, you enroll 3 in your first month, you become a manager. You help each of those 3 to enroll their 3, you become a senior manager. You're also asking them to agree to the 4 core principles because you're going to duplicate that one more time in month 3 so that your 3 getting their 3 is 9. Those 9 each getting their 3 is 27. You're now a vice president. You're a vice president in 90 days, not going crazy, 2 people a day for 30 days. But if everybody adheres to these 4 core principles, and again, when people say, why do I got to do what you say? You don't got to do what I say. I'm offering this as a blueprint. This is what I do with my people. This is how I have developed my networks. I'm not going to sit here and brag on you, but if anybody afterwards wants to know, okay, what makes you qualified to teach this? I have trained over 1 million people in those 3 companies, the telecom, the nutrition, and the energy. Those 3 companies, I trained over 1 million people. So I know what I'm telling you will work. The recruiting process. This is as simple as you could ever ask. Step 1, you're effectively approaching somebody. In that effective approach, you're going to do number 2, which is you're going to create value for that short video. After the short video, you're going to follow up with them, and assuming that they either have some questions or they want to go take a look at a presentation, you're going to create value and respect for one of the company presentations. They do, Lord, over 20 presentations live all week long. So you're going to create value and respect for the presentation. And what do I mean by that? You're going to find out the name of the person who will be presenting, and then you're going to let your prospect know, Mr. Allen has been with the company for many months. He's been here basically since the beginning. He can share with you, in addition to answering your questions, he can share with you the company's background, their history. Would that be important to you, Chucky? Yep. He can also share with you where the company is right now and the growth and expansion they plan to go through over the next 6 to 12 months. Mr. Allen can show you how you can fit into that growth and expansion and the type of money that's available to you. Would that be important for you, Chucky? Yep. You've just created value and respect for the presenter, Mr. Allen, at that presentation, which is for the live web presentation. At the conclusion, you're going to have the follow-up, and they're either going to say, I just want to become a Transact card member, enroll them. They might be ready to sign up as a DBO, or they may still have some questions. If they have questions, create value and respect for your expert. Now they're going to qualify to have a one-on-one conversation, whether it's on the phone, a Zoom call, a FaceTime call, or in person face-to-face, but a live interactive conversation with your upline expert. And again, I'm not going to repeat the same thing. You create the value and respect, just like I did for Mr. Allen, only instead of it being for the presentation, it's for the live one-on-one. Now, again, those 6 steps could not be any simpler. Again, you have to learn them. You have to duplicate them. They have to be applied consistently, but it's not like I'm asking you to solve the Pythagorean's theorem or string theory. This is simple stuff that every single one of us can do. Now I'm going to pause there. Have I created any questions, comments, or thoughts at this point? I'm not going to believe that you think I'm that amazing that there's not a single question.
Okay, John, I have a question for you. It's Sheila.
Yes, Miss Sheila.
I want to know if you were trained by Zig Ziglar or Rohn.
Neither. Bill Gould.
Oh, Gould. Okay. Nice.
And I was in attendance so frequently. When I say 3 weekends a month for 2 years, there were times that there were 1,500 people at a stadium, and there were times that there were 38 people in a little room. He knew me by name. I knew him. He took me to the movies one weekend when we were bored. But I mean, I actually had a personal relationship with him back then because he was just amazed that I was this punk kid that was at every training.
Yep, you had the call of God on your life, and God knew it, and He sat your ass in that chair and got you taught. And now you're going to teach us, and we're excited.
Well, I'm happy to pass it on. I can tell you, it wasn't fun when I was going. It was the most miserable experience to be sitting there. Because, guys, this was all before the internet. There's no cell phones. This was
Right.
1991, 92, 93. Man, he would hand out a thick spiral notebook, and there'd be boxes of pens. He'd be like, wear them out, kid. I tell you, I had just stacks and stacks and stacks of notes, and I've condensed them over the years, and I've evaluated what was, changing with the times. But yes, Miss Sheila, he was making $1 million a month in NSA water filters. And to put this out there, just so you guys all understand, I'm not BSing when I tell you that I absolutely was horrible. This guy's making $1 million a month. I'm in front of him 3 weekends a month for 2 years. Guess how many people were in my network?
A couple thousand?
0.
0.
I was you want to talk about a numbnut? I'm sitting in front of the guy making $1 million a month going, that crap's not going to work on my friends. Miranda, I swear to you, I had that big of an ego. Remember, I thought I had accomplished something. I was a lifeguard for 8 years. I graduated with a degree from St. Joseph's in marketing, mathematics, and psychology, and went to law school. I thought I was the tip of the spear. Meanwhile, they're looking at me going, dude, you're an unemployed punk kid. But my ego would not allow me to drop my self-opinion and learn from him, even though he was documented. So I swear to you, guys, it has nothing to do with how much money somebody makes or their status. If the person is not ready to learn, a nuclear bomb won't go off. I had to suck horribly for 2 years until I was just tired of being frustrated. And I finally just said, fine, I'll try this crap. And then magically it worked.
And that's exactly it. And it's amazing that you're putting this together and sharing it all with us. We'll take it all. So are you recording this?
This is recorded. Yes, ma'am.
Will we be able to get a copy?
Yes, you will. In fact, I'm going to give everybody that's here, I will send, if you send me a friend request on Facebook, I'll invite you into, there's a bunch, I'm in 5 Facebook groups, but there's one called Transact Card Builders Training 3x3x3.
Okay.
I'm an admin of that one, and I will be posting this in the guide section so that it's very easy for everybody to find. I will also post all of the documents up in there.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, John. We so appreciate you.
You're
Yeah.
very welcome.
And I love seeing that you are healing and you're feeling good. I mean, you might be faking it to some degree, but man, what a difference 60 days makes.
I appreciate it. I thank you for all of your prayers that you're giving me every day. I have the very,
Absolutely.
so you can't see how ugly this is because it's still like Elephant Man caved in.
God's got plans for you. He's not going
Yeah.
to drop you.
No, you've been telling me that, and I appreciate it. And I'm doing my best to believe in it. Just so you guys understand, I feel like I sound like a drunk slurring my speech because this is all numb. My eye to my lip, my nose to my ear is all numb. These teeth are all jammed up into my jaw. So I feel like I'm just slurring my speech like some drunk trying to get out of a DUI.
Wow.
No,
Hey, well,
you
John,
look
this
good.
yeah, John, this is a Gene. I just wanted to say I appreciate the nugget that you sent out to us. Absolutely. And I know you got to be going through some things right now, and we appreciate. I personally appreciate the time that you're giving, and just wanted to relay that to you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I thank you very much as well, sir. I promise you guys, I will give you the best I have 2-3 nights a week. If we want to fill these things up, I'll make the trainings. There'll always be a foundation for brand new people, but I'll try to bring something new each time so that people coming back won't feel bored. I would love nothing more. And by the way, I don't care if anybody's in my team or not. I'm here to just help train anybody who's in Transact Card that says, man, I really wish I was a little bit more successful. I'm not telling you don't listen to your upline. I'm just saying if you're not, if you're swimming in the ocean and getting tired, I'm a lifeguard. I'm just going to swim out, hand you the ring buoy and bring you in. I don't care who your upline is. And if they benefit greatly from your success, then that's a blessing for all of us. So please don't hesitate to ask me if there's anything I can do to help.
John, this is Trisha. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Wonderful, Miss Trisha. How are you tonight?
I am great. Thank you for asking. Listen, if there are some folks that have watched the video and they've kind of tuned in tonight, can you kind of just give them a few words about Transact Card and the benefits?
Absolutely. And that's a great question because, again, we do have a sense of urgency. For those of you that are here and have not yet made the decision or you're still kind of feeling your way, first of all, thanks for being here. That's number one. Number two, congratulations on at least taking a look because that's 99% of the battle right there. What we have with Transact Card is the best of the worst possible situation. And what I mean by that is I was an executive of 3 companies for about 18 years. And I hated pre-launch. I hated the pre-launch time frame because reps would go out and make all kinds of promises. And then as the VP of sales and training, I had to go clean all that mess up after we officially launched. So Transact Card is in the final, basically 10 days of this pre-launch transition period where they go live November 13th, 14th, and 15th. And when I say the best of a worst scenario, we are in this transition period where, as a brand new person, myself included, we can sign up, but we can't even order our debit card yet. If you were already in and you've used your debit card, you can't refund it with more money, because as we transition to the new banking platform, everybody had to have a zero balance so that the new cards could all be issued. So there's never going to be a worse time to say to somebody, hey, join this cash back program with this really cool debit card. Can I see it? No. Why not? I don't have one. What the hell are you selling it for then? Well, here's why. The people that did have it, this is what they were able to do. And the reason why I say it in a joking way is the company did the absolute best thing that you could ask. While they said you can't get a new card and you can't add more money, you can't fund your existing card, we're just going to give you 500 Z-Bucks each week until the transition is over. So I enrolled. I did not get a card. I did not spend a single dollar on it. And I have over 5,000 Z-Bucks.
Wow.
I mean, I think that's pretty generous of the company.
Yes, it is.
That's their thank you to a
Absolutely
DBO.
fabulous.
That's their thank you to a DBO or a TCM that just said, hey, I'm going to give it a shot.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is.
Now, I say it's the worst possible scenario because somebody has to be okay with, all right, I'm risking $25 if I get this card. Well, this is where my mathematical and legal background kicks in. I'm all about risk reward. Here's the risk. Worst case scenario is it's $25 and you lose it. Nothing ever comes of it. You've lost $25. That is the top end of your risk. The reward is, if it is everything that we say it is, on November 15th, you're going to have access to order your debit card, fund your debit card, and then spend money and get not dollar for dollar, but $2, 2 Z-Bucks for every dollar spent for an entire year. So you'll get 500 Z-Bucks for signing up. You'll get 2 Z-Bucks for every dollar you spend for an entire year. And you'll never have to pay another dollar because your annual renewal fee is waived for life. Now, all I'll say to you is there is a $25 risk, but that is one heck of a reward in exchange for taking it. Would anybody agree with me on
Yes,
that?
it is. I agree. Yes.
Absolutely.
For a digital branch office, if you're
Definitely.
saying, I want to be a business partner, I want to be one of these digital branch offices, $495. After the launch, it's still $495, but because it's a franchise, there's a $50 a month franchise fee that covers all of the trademarks and logos and technology and everything that they're giving to us. If you become a digital branch office before the 12th, so all the way up to midnight on November 12th, it's $495, but they will give you the opportunity to become a manager and waive that $50 fee for life. So $50 a month is the franchise fee. Very fair, worth every penny of it. But if you become a digital branch office and hit manager, which means either refer 3 digital branch offices or 20 Transact card members by midnight on the 12th, your $50 fee is waived for life. $50 a month,
Wow.
$100 a year, folks. Again, that's chump change for a franchise. It's worth every penny. But if you're giving me the option to waive it so I don't ever have to pay it, thank you very much. That is your opportunity by becoming a digital branch office right now and going out there and sharing this versus just waiting until. And it's okay to wait until, but they have put some very nice benefits out there for those of us involved in pre-launch so that they're investing in us and thanking us for the faith we're giving them. Does that sound fair, Miss Tricia?
Yes, I'm trying to unmute myself. Yes, it does. That's what drew us in, and that's what keeps us, so excited. It's like, why would you not do this? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You're gonna spend money anyway. So
Right.
why spend money and not get anything back versus spending money and getting, that double back. I can't wait to get into the Z Club. And my husband, he was just saying, babes, I have 1,000 Z bucks. And it's like, look, can't wait.
That's fantastic. That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's the excitement that you want to have. Like I said, it's not about being hype and BS. It's about, I'm passionate about this. I believe in the company. I believe in the opportunity, and I'm willing to put, for me, there's nothing more valuable than my reputation, except your reputation. I treat them the same. But I'm willing to go out there and talk about this because the company has done the right things from where I sit and what I'm looking at. And by the way, for those of you that are not sure about whether or not to kick it into high gear, during, again, pre-launch, which is the worst time for any company. It's when you have mistakes, it's when you have issues, it's when the problems show up so that you can fix them before you go live. That's what, pre-launch is like preseason football. You have to have it, otherwise it doesn't look right when it's real. Well, this company has brought in over 50,000 people during pre-launch, over 25,000 DBOs, which is branch offices, and almost 24,900 and change Transact card members, but a total over 50,000 people. How many of you guys think that's pretty impressive?
Very much so.
Yes.
If you're not sure, here's why I'm telling you this. You get yourself into the community revenue sharing pool, and you just hit manager, which is you having 3 personally sponsored digital branch offices. As the company continues to grow and the revenue continues to grow, you're eligible for up to a $500 a month bonus. How many of you would be pretty happy if you signed up, just got a couple of partners, three digital branch offices, you never did anything else, got a handful of customers, and you were eligible to earn $500 a month for the next 10 years?
That would be me.
Oh yeah.
That would
Oh,
be
yeah,
me
I
as
would.
well.
Wonderful,
No-brainer.
Chris, wonderful. Yeah.
That's worth it, right? Well, watch this.
Yeah.
Some of you have heard me say you got to get it in gear because you got to get yourself your 3 and help them get their 3 so that they become managers and you become a senior manager. As a senior manager, we're talking about 12 people. You got your 3 and you've helped them each to get their 3, which is 9. You're now eligible for up to $1,500 a month.
Wow.
Folks, that's $18,000 a year.
Yep.
I could deal with that.
Absolutely.
Listen, that's not your commissions from your team. That's your little slice of the company's overall revenue.
What? What? Say that again.
That's not your team. Your team is additional. That's your little piece of the overall company revenue.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's why I say don't be goofing around with this thing. Like, take it seriously and hit it hard, because this revenue sharing pool is available to all of us.
Amazing.
Well, hopefully that's enough of a reason, Miss Tricia, for those folks listening.
Wow. If I could clone myself, I'd sign myself up as a DBO.
Do we have any other questions, thoughts, or comments?
Hey, John, this is Anthony. How you doing this evening?
Wonderful, sir. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you. So, my question, just for regular member card users, it's a $25 annual renewal. would it be possible to use the Z-Bucks to do the renewal?
It would not, and that's because that becomes part of the revenue sharing pool.
Okay.
The $25 is annual. It's not each month, it's annual, and it's for people that join after the launch.
Okay. I got you. All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great question. But that's why, seriously, guys, go out there and talk to everybody. If they want to wait until after the launch, that's okay. But at least
Hello?
an option to get started now.
John,
Yes, Miss Tricia.
now this is Miss Trisha's husband.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's
I
on
ju-
my phone.
Yeah, I just got in not too long ago from work. So it's $25 not a month, but a year?
$25 one time if it's during pre-launch. If it's after the launch, it's $25, and then annually once a year, $25.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yep, it's the most affordable deal out there.
And yet you have people that go, I'll just continue not getting anything for my money.
That will, listen, I promise you, the reason why I teach you the approach that I teach you is you absolutely need to keep that door wide open so that after the launch, spend as much as you can on your card that month, and then get yourself a deal in the Z Club and go back to them. We'll get everybody that way, I promise you. The only reason somebody's saying no is they just don't believe it. That's all.
They're scared. That's it.
Which is fine. Look, there's a lot of companies that have pulled a lot of scams. There's a lot of people out there that are just, I mean, look, I was a no. I said no, 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 no way. So I can't get mad at somebody, but I will have fun with them. And that means keep the door open and always come back with offers.
Hey, John, how you doing, sir? This is Quentin.
Yes, sir, Mr. Quentin.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, like the lady said earlier, God definitely has a plan for your life. There's no way that you would survive the fall and be able to still do what you're doing. So truly, God's favor is upon you, and we are going to continue to pray for you.
Thank you. I sincerely mean I need the prayers. I thank you.
Yes, sir. I had a young lady that from my church that I, showed the video to, was speaking to her about it. In a professional way, in a way even prior to the script that was presented to me. I told her, even just for the $25, I would pay it for her. And once she looked at it, her response was to save my money. She's not interested. I said, well, listen, I asked her, I said, well, what is it that you didn't like about it? She said, well, to me, it's a scam and you need to get out of it because it's going to be something that's going to get you caught up in something. I say, well, that's your opinion. I said, well, look, can I have you to speak with someone, to maybe present it to you maybe in a way that, maybe I didn't. She said, no, Quentin, I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do it. And, it's surprising because, like I said, I was going to pay her $25.
You are a gentleman, and it was very kind of you to offer. But I will say this to you, and I know this is going to sound horrible, so I'll use it with my own family. I have people in my own family that are so skeptical about everything that they literally said, well, call me after you used it and you got some, and I don't get mad anymore. I actually feel bad for people. I think, damn, how screwed up is your head?
Yes.
That, that God's handing you a gold brick and you're going, that's gotta be lead painted gold. I'm not taking it. Okay, moron. Like, you just move on. Like,
Just move on.
but I say always do it in a way that leaves the door open, because where I will be respectful and honor and respect their decision to take a pass, I reserve the right to always come back and screw with you. Meaning I will, with my family member, use the Z-Bucks. I will go buy something that I know he likes, and then I will tell him, and that will absolutely incite him, and he will join. I will also take a trip because he loves traveling, especially cruises. And I will book a trip, possibly a cruise, and say, you dumb SOB, you're going to spend $800 or $900. I paid nothing. And that's what it will take, because skepticism only goes so far if the person has any common sense. And I know he has common sense, he's just skeptical. So I would say the same thing. The young lady's probably been screwed over by somebody or a group, and she's just so skeptical that she's looking at you saying, Quentin, I love you and I trust you. You need to get out before you get screwed. Like, her brain automatically transposes that you have to be dumb enough to be fooled too, instead of saying, Quinn's a smart guy, maybe I should take a look and see what he sees. But, you know, that's human nature. And unfortunately, too many people are programmed, and we just have to let that programming play out. And then we put a new tape in and teach them a different message.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Absolutely. But I promise you, my right hand to God, I think it's going to be the easiest thing in the world come January, when we're able to use these in November and December and buy stuff with our Z-Bucks. And then that's all we're going to be bragging about in January all over social media. I'll have a whole set of trainings on how to go out there and absolutely piss off everybody that said no with all the free stuff you got.
I got you. Thank you, sir.
You got it. In a positive way, because again, we want them to join us.
Big John.
Yes, sir, Sam.
Question. I had got a question today about someone about the Transact card and its functionality. I understand it's supposed to function the same way as a traditional debit card. So their question to me was, will we be able to put cash on it and pull cash off? And I didn't think about that. I'm like, man, is this just for Z-Bucks, or is it?
I was
Can you
going to say
actually
this.
use it?
I'm going to bet you can, but I would say there couldn't be a dumber thing that you could do when you have the debit card giving you 2 for 1. Why you would draw the cash out and use the cash, unless you were doing something that was like so illegal it had to be cash only, then I guess, you know, that's how I buy registered guns too or whatever. But I mean, yeah. So the answer is you probably can go to a location with a debit card and pull cash out, but it would be counterproductive for having the card is all I'm saying.
Right. That makes sense. You know, it was a question that was asking me, and it was probably the only question that kind of had me like a deer in the headlights. But I was like, man.
But yeah, because it's that dumb. You're thinking we're going to put cash onto a card to then take the cash off of the card and not get any benefits.
Yeah, it just don't make sense. So
that's like, go make a burger and feed me.
Right. Well, thank you. That's the only question I got.
Absolutely. But yes, I do think that you'll be able, because it's going to function. So I got to assume that when you're cashing, you know, when you're at a register that offers you cash back with debit cards, you'll be able to. But just, we're going to teach people the answer is always no. Swipe and get the bonus. You're not going to get bonus by taking cash out and buying stuff on the streets.
Right. So that's
but
rather.
I kind of understand that in a way, because you know, sometimes maybe people just want to have some cash on them. So just say the money is being direct deposited on their card. You know what I mean? They want to go to the ATM and grab $100 for walking around cash money. You know what I'm saying? Just cause.
Today, do we buy that you have to, because I'm a cash guy. I'm anti-government, so I'm a cash guy, but there's just no place anymore where they take just cash. A lot of places don't even take cash anymore. They want credit card because they don't want to be robbed. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, but again, I see the point of the question though, because they might just be that type of person. Like, I mean, they might just want to go into a bar, you know what I'm saying, and spend a couple dollars that way.
It doesn't take credit cards.
I mean, everybody does, but I'm just saying, everybody takes credit cards, but
just having fun, Anthony, you know. I used to enjoy carrying cash because it made me feel special, be able to pull out a couple of 50s and $100 bill, even though it might be all I had. As long as it was in my pocket, I felt rich.
Well, you know what? We've come to find, especially when you go out to a restaurant, and you want to tip the waitress, or what have you. Now, within the, I don't know how many years they've been doing this, but they have to share their tips. It all goes in a pool.
Correct.
And so, if we have a really good waitress, we'll tell her, we don't want you to share this. So I'm going
Right.
to give you cash. I'm not going to put this on the tip card.
Right.
That would be one of the reasons why we might, carry a little bit of cash if we
Fair
know we're
enough.
going out to dinner, because we want to give it to them, for doing a great job and not have to share it with somebody who's, sloppy or rude or whatever. And I said, that's the most asinine thing, but still, that's, one of the reasons why we might carry a little bit of cash. But if I can get my Z-Bucks, baby, you best believe I'm going to get my Z-Bucks.
That's when you say, sweetheart, you did a great job, but you're splitting this tip because I'm getting my Z-Bucks. No, thank you for the question, Sam, and thank you for your participation as well, Anthony.
Not a
Not a
problem.
problem, sir. Not a
If
problem.
I
Thank you.
didn't warn you, I goof around a lot, because if I don't goof around, I get bored.
No, listen, I totally understand. I have a sense of humor. Trust me.
Fair enough.
Was not taking offense.
Okay, good. Any other questions, comments, or thoughts?
When's the next training?
Well, let's see. Today's Thursday.
Hmm?
Why don't we shoot for Sunday night?
Sunday night it is.
Same time, 8:30 Sunday night. That way you guys can be busy tomorrow. You could be busy Saturday. The company has training on Saturday. There's presentations tomorrow and Saturday, and then we'll just do this again on Sunday night. Sound fair?
Sound fair. We can do it this this coming Sunday at 8:30. And then after that, we will start at 8 o'clock, because that will work better for us with the time.
Okay, perfect. We'll
Yeah.
do one more to 8:30 so we don't trip anybody up. And then
Yes.
we'll loud and clear starting next week, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 8 p.m.
Sounds good.
All right. God bless.
Plan.
Thank you all for being here tonight.
Hope you took some copious notes, because they were something, I'm telling you. And hope everybody use them, because they are really great. It'll get you where you want to be.
And again, if you are on Facebook and you are not already in our Facebook group, send me a friend request. I got a light blue baseball. You'll see the face, but I got a light blue baseball cap on. Everybody says it looks like Michael Landon, so I'll take that as a compliment. And send me a friend request, and I'll invite you into the group, and we'll make sure you have access to the training and all the documents.
Awesome.
All
Good
right.
night.
Thanks, Big John.
Thank you
All
all for
right.
being here. Good night and God bless everyone.
Amen.
All right. Thanks, John.